experience working with leaders around the world, and I mean this sincerely, not a joke.
You a joke.
America is still viewed as the beacon of democracy for the world.
No, it's not.
I can't tell you how many world leaders, and I know all of them, virtually all of them, grab my arm in private and say, "You can't win. Tell me." No, my country will be at risk.
Democracy itself is at risk under Trump. That's the warning from President Biden last night, who spent his first campaign event going on.
While he let spy balloons travel across our country. He's going to let
you run as a presidential candidate.
China take Taiwan.
You know, as I remember when I was in the presidential campaign, you normally think to yourself, what have I accomplished? What is my vision? What can I lead with? This is all he had.
Is what they're doing.
Yeah, he's basically standing on the porch saying, "Get off my lawn." I mean, this is an angry old man who goes to this historic site where George Washington had a great moment. I think it's interesting that it's the Democrats who have tried to erase George Washington from American history. I thought it was incredibly ironic that now Joe Biden wants to pretend he's George Washington reincarnate. This is just insane. And when he talks about these world leaders that touch his arm and tell him, "You've got to do something," I just shudder because I'm thinking, I wonder if Joe could even name those leaders. Does he remember their names? Does he remember the names of his cabinet secretary sitting in front of him at his speech? The answer is no. But this is a man who has nothing to brag about for his 3 years in office. We've got open borders. The world is a mess. His lack of leadership and his weakness has given entree for Putin to go into Ukraine. The Palestinians and Hamas rush into Israel. Iran is backing Hezbollah, Hamas, because Biden made
Iran's getting a nuke
to have all the oil money that Trump had shut down when he put maximum pressure on them. I mean, this is a president who's left our economy in a mess. So what else has he got? He goes and makes this ridiculous speech about how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. The real threat to democracy is what happens when a sitting president uses the powers of the police that he controls to go after his political opponent rather than to just say, we're going to have an honest election.
Now, to play devil's advocate, Governor Huckabee, the Democrats would argue he gave virtually the same speech before the midterms, except the difference was there was a blood red background, and it worked. We evaded the red wave. Will it work this time?
I don't think so, because, you know, Americans right now are looking at the fact that they don't have the money they had when Donald Trump was president. The tax cuts, the regulation changes that Donald Trump brought into power, the fact that he pushed back on China and made them play more fairly in the world of trade, it upset the globalists terribly, but it empowered a lot of American families with about $4,000 a year better income. Under Joe Biden, they can't afford bacon or bread. The gasoline and groceries that they buy cost more. Interest rates have skyrocketed, which means the cost of buying a car or a home are now out of reach for most of them. And they're not stupid. I guess Joe Biden thinks they're all stupid, but they're not. And that's why you
Believe me, a lot of them are.
Faithful constituencies of the Democrats, African Americans and Hispanics, saying, no more. We're not going to be with Biden this time. And I just think that they have nothing else. What are they going to do? Say, let's come down to the southern border and see what a wonderful job we've done taking care of that. You don't have to go to the southern border. Go to New York City, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. They're overrun with illegals because this president opened the door on day one of his administration.
You know, Governor, final question. I was comparing some of the language Biden used to previous kind of campaign launches, and Donald Trump in Orlando in 2019, President Trump, he said the American dream is back. That's something Biden couldn't say. We are one movement, one people. President Obama, we did these things together. We move forward together. It seems to me past incumbents had a message of unity, togetherness. We move forward as one. Is this just going to be totally left out and they are going to take a bet on the negative?
Well, it sure appears when your opening salvo is basically to stand on the stage and scream at Donald Trump and make up a bunch of stuff. Look, nobody, and I mean nobody, that I know thought that what happened January 6th at the Capitol was a good thing. It was horrible. And the fact was there was a riot, and the people who did violent things have paid incredibly for that with prison terms. But not everybody who was there actually engaged in violence or riot, and it sure wasn't a insurrection. If it was, then Jack Smith would have already charged Donald Trump with it. He's charged him with everything else, everything but shoplifting in the CVS and Walgreens stores that are shut down because Democrats won't prosecute anybody. So this is nonsense, and if this is all the Democrats have, it's going to be a great year for Republicans in 2024 if we just focus on what we can do for America and let the Democrats stand on the porch and scream, "Get off my lawn."
Wise words, as always, Governor Mike Huckabee. Thank you.